Welcome back. We take you to one of our earlier stories, that is the ever-rising death toll from the twin earthquakes in Turkey and Syria earlier this week. Now more than 11,000 people have been killed. Emergency teams, including one from Gift of the Givers here in South Africa, have arrived in the country. Now, concern is also growing about South Africans who may be caught up in this catastrophe. Let's get more from South Africa's ambassador to Türkiye Dipuo Letsatsi-Duba. A very good evening to you, Ambassador. Thank you so much for your time. So, in the last 48 hours or so, you have been able to confirm that at least 7 South Africans who were at a prison in Turkey were in the building or around the building when it collapsed. Any more information on whether they're alive?
Let's correct the figures, because we are not actually right on the scene. The number was not 7, but it was 4. And we are told all of them are alive and that there are no major injuries from them. So it is not 7, it is 4.
Okay, so that number is down from 7 to 4 from initial reports. Yes. But as far as the overall picture, 10 cities affected by this tragedy in Turkey alone, and in other cities in neighboring Syria as well. In Turkey, where you are the ambassador, do you know of any other South Africans who may have been caught up in what's happened since Monday?
No, except this 4. It's only today where we received a message from the crisis point where they told us there's a South African who was visiting a friend in the area together with his wife, and he's not injured, and him and the wife are fine. Now, what they are requesting us to do was to provide them with traveling arrangements back home. So we are still in the process of verifying whether indeed this pair is a South African pair through the Department of Home Affairs to their IDs. Once we confirm they are, then we'll be able to arrange for them to travel home. Turkish Airlines has announced it's ready to evacuate people around the area. So if indeed they are, we'll put them on the list of other Africans who are listed.
How long is that list, ma'am?
Back home.
Is it a long list of people who want to travel back home after this tragedy?
No, I'm saying home we don't have a list except this pair, the 2 who are in the area, whom we are trying to verify, but other African countries have lists. So if indeed they are, we'll put them on the list of other Africans who are listed together with the Turkish Airlines.
Got you.
But from our side, we have only 2 who we received the information today. All along we didn't know except this afternoon, where we were informed we have 2 South Africans who are also stranded, but they are safe. They are okay and safe. All they want is for us to do arrangements in terms of traveling back home.
And how easy is it to reach people by phone or otherwise in areas around the epicenter in Kahramanmaraş and areas such as Gaziantep, where entire buildings have been razed to the ground? Cell phone signal, when you look at it, especially for TV crews trying to connect, has even been patchy in some areas. So are you able to communicate with ease with officials in that area?
It's so difficult to communicate. Even now, the pair which is there, we were not able to talk to them because they don't have any form of communication. We only rely on the official information we receive from the Turkish government.
Mm-hmm. Will you then continue? I know you say only 2 people have now come forward. The 4 who are inmates serving time, I assume, in a Turkish jail, they are not seriously injured. They're fine. Will you continue then the process of looking for more people just in case they may be there but out of reach of a cell phone, an email, that sort of thing?
Yes, what we do every morning, we are in touch with the crisis center in Ankara, where we receive information. All the diplomats flock there in the morning, try to get as much as information they can about their citizens. Even ourselves, we do that. And it's a pity because yesterday we met as diplomats because we wanted to travel to the area, but we were informed we cannot, only the rescue teams are allowed to go there because it's still risky because of the what they call the aftershock waves, which are still prevalent in the area. So our hands are tied. We can't go there. We can't look for our citizens. We can't do anything except to go to the crisis center every morning to get information from the officials here in Turkey.
And in terms of the response, various countries, dozens of countries are now sending in aid to Turkey. I know there's a struggle in terms of aid arriving in Syria because of the fact that parts of the country are held by the government of President Bashar al-Assad, but you also have the northeast, which is controlled by rebel groups there. People were already displaced and living in camps as a result of the civil war. Gift of the Givers has a team in Turkey. Is there any conversation going on between yourselves there in Turkey and the government here at home about the government sending emergency teams of its own?
The emergency teams from South African side?
Yes.
Yes. Yesterday we were in touch with the department. They were still busy processing the procurement processes for our team to arrive, the search and rescue team. But our worry is that time is running out because of the time. The incident happened on Monday. Today is Wednesday. People who are still under the rebels might not survive 2 more days. So for our team to arrive tomorrow or Friday, it will be a futile exercise because obviously they won't be able to save lives unless if maybe they come to do aftermath of the earthquake where they recover the bodies and try to clear the place and so on. But as far as saving lives, I think we are running out of time.
And how concerned are you about the apparent uneven distribution of the emergency response and the aid, the comparison between Turkey and Syria? There's a lot going into Turkey, but not as much going into Syria because of the internal politics of that country and the Western sanctions imposed on the Syrian government.
Yeah, from the humanitarian point of view, we are very much worried, Tembekile, because life is life, irrespective of the alliances politically and so on. And we are very much concerned about that, but it's beyond us at this moment as diplomats, and we are trying to raise it amongst ourselves, and we can't go beyond that. But it's a serious concern that there's this inequality, and the disaster happened almost the same region, even if it's 2 countries. That is the problem.
South Africa's ambassador to Turkey, Dipuo Letsatsi-Duba. Good to speak to you, ma'am.